Oh, I love that.
I love that. We've been gem dropping today. Yeah. Hello, I am the Vixen here with Rhythm, and today we are talking to Roy Kinsey.
What's up?
How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing well, Vixen. How are you?
I'm very good. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Black Pride.
Happy Black Pride.
All of that, yeah. So today, we're talking about Pride. First, I want to know, you as an artist, what does Pride mean to you?
Oh, beautiful question. Pride to me means the celebration of an imagination. I think being able to get to a place where you're like, see, I told you we were fab. I told you that we would come through all these obstacles that you had put in front of us, that I deserved a great life, that I deserved dignity, are all my definitions of what pride would mean, but especially getting down to one of the most important things that we have, imagination.
Yeah.
Seeing a better life for ourselves and knowing we were different and unique, and then chasing and following our intuition.
Yeah, because you take pride in your creativity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like everything you make is kind of like, told you. Right?
It has to be. I mean, it's aspirational,
Yeah.
right? We had this conversation just thinking about writing yourself out or manifesting, and the power of writing, the power of the tongue. And so a lot of times, even if you don't see it for yourself immediately, knowing that you have that power to
create.
To create.
Yeah, because it all starts as an idea, and every idea comes with doubt. So you're like, okay, I think I could do this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And it takes a second to say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you do it plenty of times.
I've seen you do it plenty of times.
You know. Okay, let's see here. So how does well-being and cannabis play a part in your everyday life?
I believe in the connectedness of it. It kind of brings a real clarity, despite what a lot of people believe. And it makes me feel connected to the world. It makes me feel connected to people like, you, and helps just understanding, I think, the well-being of it, just thinking about how it helps me to relax, how it's been helping me with anxiety, how it's been helping me as I tap in to my body, or thinking about energy, and just being able to relax and indulge and connect with another person with it is one of my favorite things about the ritual of smoking.
Yeah, I love the bond of like, hey, you want to smoke? That's a good thing.
Spark up.
Yeah. Okay, so what historical queer artists have inspired you to find your rhythm in the world?
There's been so many, right? I love Luther.
Mm-hmm.
I love Whitney.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they really got to have that life, or if they even wanted it. But I also think about people like Isaac Julian, who directed one of my favorite films that inspired my album, Kinsey, a memoir, Looking for Langston. And when I got to see that piece of film, it was really informed a lot of the themes that I wanted to talk about on Kinsey, but just being able to see this story about Langston Hughes, it inspired my cover art. And so I really love that. But I also love Marlon Riggs, who is another trailblazer for me, gone too soon, but just thinking about them as a writer and a director, as an educator, and how they felt that it was very important to put our stories as Black queer people on TV and into documentary. It helped me along my path. And so many queer artists, that's why I think that it's important what we do, because as jaded, I think, as we could become.
True.
I remember being a adolescent, a 14 and 15-year-old boy at the library, understanding or trying to understand myself better, and pieces of art actually helped me to kind of navigate that space. And I was looking in books like, what's going on with my body? What's going on with my thoughts and my attractions? And so just having these artists to leave things behind for people like me who are trying to design their lives is extremely important. I'd say Marlon Riggs and Isaac Julian, just off the top, but there's so many.
I'm loving it. This is the librarian. I just got a lot of homework. I'm gonna be taking my notes. Okay, yeah.
Tongues Untied.
Tongues Untied, okay.
Tongues Untied by Marlon Riggs. Looking for Langston by Isaac Julian.
Got it. Okay. I totally agree. I think, I love how you said, like these people who like help you design your life, because that's really what we do when you don't know, okay, I can't, especially I think queer people, when we're young, we have such a hard time picturing our lives because we've only seen negative representation. So it's like, what is my life going to turn out to be?
Yes.
And so having these icons that like help us like see like there's a possible positive outcome is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Notes,
absolutely. Imagination.
Yeah.
Our imagination needs to be cultivated, nurtured, for sure.
Okay, this one's a little bit easier. And I think from your last answer, I can kind of guess. Do you have a favorite pride song or queer anthem?
Yes. I love Higher Love by...
I knew it was going to be Whitney.
It has to be Whitney.
Yeah.
It has to be Whitney.
Yeah.
I think I knew about Whitney before maybe the world did. I've been loving Whitney since I was really, really young and had no idea that this queer story would come out. But this song came out actually late.
Postmortem, yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful song. So I love Higher Love by Whitney. That's my jam.
You're so right. I think all of my gay friends, they like really gravitate to that song. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bop.
Yeah.
It's a bop.
Yeah.
So Roy Kinsey, rapper, librarian.
Yeah.
Tell us more about you.
As you aforementioned, my name is Roy Kinsey, rapper, librarian. My last album is called Kinsey, a Memoir. And in that project, I really wanted to tell the story of my coming to age as a Black queer person in Chicago. It was really important for me to kind of infuse my music with those messages and with my story. And that's kind of how I approach my music. So my librarianship and my reading and my research always kind of informs my music.
Yeah.
But to tell these larger stories that I feel like are missing within hip hop.
Yeah. And being a queer, educated figure in hip hop, it's a lot of responsibility, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think thinking about hip hop as a concept, which, is to know and to be relevant in how Chuck D from Public Enemy would say, rap is the Black man's CNN.
Yeah.
I still hold true to those values. I still think that about hip hop. And so from my side, right, being Black and queer from the west side of Chicago, I wanted to not ask anymore, but kind of like knock the door down and be like, oh, I have a story to tell as well that is just as valuable and important to this culture. I really also feel like it's an evolution of the culture that I kind of hold so dear, which is hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people, I'm like, if you don't feel represented, represent, right? So if you don't see yourself in hip hop or in like the scene,
I love that.
That's your calling, right? I feel like when you like see a room you want to be in, but you don't see anybody else that looks like you, that's the calling. It's telling you need to be there.
Yeah.
Because you need to be there for the next person to show up and say, okay, this is a safe space.
If you're not represented, represent. I'm going to put that in my pocket.
I taught the librarian
something. Yes,
thank you, Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, a little more serious,
Ooh.
Mr. Librarian. What do you think people can do this Pride Month to raise awareness about important issues that impact the global LGBT community?
That's a great question. I think understanding that what we're looking at as a privilege and why we have Pride celebrations in the first place came from not having access to those rights, being ambushed, being violated. And so I think that there are small and large scale things that we could do uh, starting with supporting people who are fighting for legislation.
Yeah.
I think understanding that we have power. I think that is designed for us to feel like we don't,
Amen.
but we can start, with our phones. We can raise awareness by thinking about there being other places in America as well as beyond that people are still being murdered. People are still being fired for who they love. There are so many countries that are impeding upon the lives of real humans.
Yeah.
And so I think just understanding that, supporting people that are fighting for these causes, creating safe spaces within us, it really, really does start with us. I know that it could sound cliche, and when you think about global LGBT rights, you may feel like it's a daunting task.
Yeah.
But there are very, very small actions that you can do, starting with just being aware, just starting on educating yourselves and knowing that educating ourselves and knowing that a thing that we celebrate now came from people fighting and being resilient about what they knew they deserved.
Yeah.
Right? And so I really kind of just think starting from those points, supporting people that are fighting for us.
Yeah.
The fight is not over because we got
Yeah.
a few things. We got, gay marriage here.
Right,
And,
yeah.
No.
And we've seen how quickly those things can be snatched from us too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think how you say, like global, it does still start with us, even globally. The thing now about our phones is, we all have the power to make a global impact with just our cell phones now, because we can all talk to everyone across the world now.
Yeah.
So the person that you portray and like the energy you put out online can make a difference in the whole world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just thinking about, we really got introduced to this concept within the last election, knowing how important and how powerful and how impactful we can be. We have a role.
Yeah.
We have a role in our democracy. We have a responsibility in our democracy. That's what it means, right? It doesn't mean things are kind of cool. It doesn't mean that it's time to actually lay back.
No.
It means that we have to kind of apply pressure and put into practice our power and our privilege.
Yeah. And I love what you said too about, supporting people who are already doing the work. Not all of us can go to school and like learn like everything about legislation and stuff like that, but support the people who do, right?
Yes.
Because I hate school. So I'm not a librarian, so I will retweet anything you post. Okay.
Yeah, you're powerful though. You know you're a voice. You know you're a voice.
I have a lot of opinions. Yeah.
Listen, but we need to hear them, right?
Yeah.
We need to hear them. Boost, amplify those people, right? We need to find people. There are people that have been in our communities doing this work, and we need to support them, make sure that they're safe and protected to continue to do that work on behalf of so many of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I love what you said. It's like the small ways that we celebrate now come from like real struggle and real protest. Like now Pride is such a glamorous and like happy occasion, but it came out of like urgency and need. And we talked about this before about how like, even like with my shows and like Black Girl Magic, how it started as like a very visceral need to vent. And now it's like, okay, we have to find the joy in this.
Yes.
And it's great to find the joy in that, but you don't want to forget where you came from and what got us to create this space where we could celebrate in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this next question really ties into that very nicely. I'm such a good host.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so thinking more locally, what are small ways in which people can make Pride celebrations more inclusive and diverse as they go about their normal festivities?
I think first and foremost, really hiring.
Say that.
Hiring Black queer talent.
Yeah.
Understanding that we are around. I think being investigative about the renaissance that is happening with Black queer musicians, DJs, is really, really important. So including us in those festivities, and allowing a stage for us to be supported, and that's just from an entertainment level, right? Yeah. But there's so many of us that are only kind of looked at, I believe, as entertainment,
Yeah.
right?
And that's the double-edged sword because, we love our art, but we know that on some levels, some people only see us as this, right?
Yeah.
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 We have minds and we can sneak real messages into our work.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's the magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just supporting, supporting trans women, supporting young Black queers that
Yeah.
are homeless. Like the homelessness rate,
It's ridiculous, especially among POC queer people. It's
Yeah.
like so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So creating those safe spaces,
Yeah.
supporting,
Give them a
understanding.
job,
Yes.
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like in Pride festivals and stuff like that. There's so much work to be done, so much canvassing that can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give a job. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I feel like in all of this, we're talking about like how locally you can support. And whenever Pride happens, now we see a lot of big corporations that really want to capitalize on Pride, right?
Mhm.
And what's important is, okay, if you're gonna make me wear the t-shirt and all of this stuff with your rainbow flag, are you still doing the work in the community?
Yeah.
And what I love about RYTHM is that everybody that I'm interviewing today is someone that I have worked with in real life,
Yeah.
in Chicago,
Yeah.
in the arts. And so it's a very authentic experience today because I know that I'm like talking to real Chicago artists who like do the work.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
hats off to you.
Full circle, full spectrum love.
Yeah. And if you get the chance, make sure you check out UGQ on Spotify and our other platforms featuring me and Roy Kinsey and Casey Ortiz.
Yes,
because
boo.
we make bops on the regular.
Absolutely.
Yes, God.
Underground Queen.
Underground Queens, crown me queen. Yeah. Happy Pride, Roy.
Happy Pride to you. It's
Thank
so
you
good
so
to see
much
you.
for being here. It's so good to see you. Happy Pride.
Thank you.